Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming to you live and direct today from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Trying to figure out how to start off today's presentation. This presentation today relates to something I read last night during my children's segment that actually literally made my blood boil. And I don't have high blood pressure, but if I did, I probably would have burst a vein or I had some kind of aneurysm or something, because I read something in one of these books that I've been using around here for a while, and it was so egregiously inaccurate, backwards, muddle-headed, etc., that I wanted to jump into the book and just change what was written on the words that were written on the page. That's how I felt. I felt I was really bad. So I'm going to speak to that today, and I hope I can do it in the time allotted. So I'm going to do my best. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and get down to business. We got a proverb today. It simply reads, "An elephant never forgets." I'm done. Okay? An elephant never forgets. That's the proverb for today. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who came up with it, but I do know that it was talking about an elephant. It's probably got something to do with Africa, because most places don't have elephants. The only other place I know with elephants would be India, except in the zoo. Poem. Today, the poem is, "Did you just question my reality?" And this has to do with what I read last night. So if you've heard this poem before, excuse me for reading it again, but I felt it appropriate. Did you just question my reality? Did you just question my reality? This is some shit. It seems I've just been gaslit. You've been gaslit when you just can't believe what your eyes did see or your ears did hear. You've been gaslit when up is down and round is square. You've been gaslit when left is right and right is wrong. You've been gaslit when your senses can't convince you that the truth is right before you. You've been gaslit when you have to deny reality in order to maintain your sense of. You've been gaslit when your mind is confused and you always lose. You've been gaslit when you have to lose to win. We've been gaslit. Ain't that some shit? Now, that's my commentary in a nutshell. But I'm going to break it down for you as exactly what it is I'm talking about and why I'm so teed off, because I'm righteously teed off today. Now, when I read this piece last night about Emperor Menelik, I was reading it in with our piece on African adventures, and I wasn't expecting to read no BS, because the book so far had been fairly accurate, true to form. But when I read that piece, I knew for sure somebody had got in that brother's mind and scrambled it like some scrambled eggs. So I'm going to go black to the beginning as to why that piece incensed me so much. Now, first of all, you have to understand that it was a background piece. And it was a background piece on the culture and history of the people of Ethiopia, which consists of a number of different kingdoms under an emperor, period, dot. Kingdoms under an emperor. The title for the emperors of Ethiopia has been King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering line of the tribe of Judah, going all back to the beginning of their 3,000 year Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. So all the way back to Solomon's times, and then you can trace Solomon all the way back to Adam if you like. So lineage, heritage, yeah, we got that. Now, here we go. I went to my daughter's school, one of my daughter's schools when we weren't homeschooling them anymore. I went to one of their schools. The teachers were very amenable to me coming in and doing a presentation. So I did a presentation on Ethiopia, and I tried to use this rag. You notice the edges of it are yellow. It's because a lot of what's in these books for the whole series, National Geographic, is, I consider it now to be yellow journalism. Now, how does it get yellow? I'll let you figure that out. I already told you I was teed off. I won't go into the other word I could have used. So you see here on the front, it's a picture of an Ethiopian priest. Now, I don't know if you can see how black he is. Now, he's not that much darker than me. He's around my complexion. But as far as I know, I'm black. I ain't never been called nothing else. You want to call me mulatto? All right, fine. You can call me that if you like. But nobody else has ever used that term in conjunction with me or my family, with the exception of my grandma, because they couldn't figure her out. But in this book, there was an article about the empire of Ethiopia, page 548. The magazine was published April 1965. Okay, 1965. They published this article, and I'm going to read you just a little small, tiny sliver in here that describes the people of Ethiopia. Oh, yeah, here goes some pictures here for comparison's sake. Okay, just for comparison's sake. So you see this one here, I think he's Anawak. This one here, he goes on the cover of posters, travel information. The posters, travel posters says travel to Ethiopia, etc. Visit Ethiopia. Typical Ethiopian woman, and then we got the priest over there again. Okay, so right in this section in here, it talks about who the Ethiopians are. Okay. Yeah, here it is here. I'm going to read from this little paragraph. It ain't going to last long. So it says here, let me see. It might say it in here twice, but I see it in here once for sure. So I'm just going to read this little part I see right that stands out to me here. Baboons dwell in the gorges, and the gentle colobus monkeys hunted illegally for their long black and white fur, swing from hails. I don't know why it's called hails. Swing from tree to tree. No, I'm reading the wrong part. I have to go back up. Here we go here. Eyes yellowed by malaria. An Anawak girl below. That was the girl I was pointing out over here. An Anawak girl below hails from the Bado River. That's where my people come from. Right along the Bado River over there in Gambela. Country of the jungled Southwest. Just right near the border of the Sudan and Ethiopia. Negro blood makes her clan a minority in Ethiopia's largely Caucasoid population of some 22 million people. And then it goes on to say she worships pagan gods. So when I read that, it jumped out at me because I realized what they had just done there is to do what not Polybius, but those Herodotus and those ancient Greek historians had said you couldn't do, that you could not remove the spots of a leopard and you couldn't change an Ethiopian black to something else. That's what they said. But here clearly, the National Geographic felt they could easily do just that. They could change the Ethiopians from black to white, Caucasoid. And I've seen this in other places as well. That example just happened to be real handy to me because I had the magazine. Kept the magazine because I wanted to see that. I wanted to be able to show people that like I'm showing you today. So, yes, there's a thing out there. They're called dark-skinned Caucasians. And that Anawat girl is not too dark to be called a dark-skinned Caucasian. They only didn't call her that for God only knows what reason. I don't even know. Because it has nothing to do with their physiognomy. It's got nothing to do with their DNA. It's got nothing to do with their heritage, their history, or anything like that except for one thing. The Italians got beat by the Ethiopians at the Battle of Adwa on March 1st, 1896. That's what it had to do with. Now, in case y'all think I'm just blustering and this is just Doc Ock again, going off on one of his tangents, because he's always tangents and just running around saying all kind of stuff that he can't back up. I got it here in this book right here. Let's see if I got it. Oh, yeah. Let me see. I think I got it highlighted. Oh, yeah. Here we go here. So this is a second book, The Life and Times of Menelik II, 1844 to 1913. Emperor Menelik was the emperor that defeated the Italians at the Battle of Adwa in a decisive victory that caused the Italians to have to pay reparations. The stuff we've been looking for all these years, it's like a regular thing. It's like insurance. It's like saying somebody hit your car and they owe you some money now. Okay, period. That's all reparations are. So reparations ain't no big thing. If somebody does something to you, they need to make reparations. Just like if they hit your car, they need to go to the insurance company, have the insurance company pay you some money. That's the same as reparations. It's just on a smaller scale. So Menelik was able to get the Italians to do that for even thinking about coming there and invading Ethiopia in the year 1896. So here in this book by Harold G. Marcus, an Ethiopian scholar, I believe he's a Caucasian, but he's a scholar on Ethiopia. He says here, the age of Menelik is important beyond the limits of purely national history. The Ethiopian victory over Italian imperialism at Adwa in 1896 and the survival of national independence forced Europeans to reconsider their prejudices about at least one group of black folks. That's his words, black folks, and he capitalized the B. The contrived and arbitrary European definitions of racism had to be modified. Although in the process, the Ethiopians were not granted their ethnicity, white men could no longer consider Ethiopians black with a little b. Imperialist ideology had defined the African as a kind of Untermensch, which for those of you who don't speak German, that means an underman, an underdog, lower than, less than, way down below on the scale of human existence. Untermensch. To continue to designate the Ethiopians as such would be to concede that inferior men could get the better of Europeans. Such an admission was impossible. That's what we call cognitive dissonance, trying to deal with the impossible. That's why I read that poem about, did you just question my reality? The Westerners painted the Ethiopians white. Just like that, just took out a brush and just whitewashed, while attributing to them many European qualities and characteristics. I'm done. That's the end of that. Okay, so we done put that garbage to rest. The Ethiopians never have been white, never are, will never be white. The word, by the way, and for those of you, those scholars of you out there, you can go look this up, Google this, Ethiop. Take the I and the A off the end of Ethiopia, you get the word Ethiop. That's the root word. It comes from the Greek. It means one thing. It doesn't mean a whole bunch of different things. It means one thing, black. That's it. I'm done, as I said before. Yeah, I was toasted. Now, we can leave that part. Because you see, you can feel can you feel my blood boiling out there? Yeah, my blood was boiling. So I'm just trying to bring it back down to a low simmer. Yeah, just like Bob Marley said, I'm trying to simmer down. Yeah, but it's hard when you see idiocy like that in a children's book. But undoubtedly, it was a children's book I was looking at. That's how poorly written some of these children's books are. that and this kind of slop that our children are being fed in schools. Now, that particular book is from the 60s, probably is not being used in most schools. However, this kind of information is the basis of what people use today to write children's books of today with. And by the way, I've yet to find a children's book about the Battle of Adwa. Why is there no book on the Battle of Adwa? They got books on the Lion King. Why ain't they got one on the Battle of Adwa? You tell me. So we're going to read a little bit now from another book, rare book. This one is World's Great Men of Color. For all you people of color out there, because we're only really talking about one color, and that's black. Various shades of it, but black. So we're going to read from the World's Great Men of Color. This is from volume 1. This is classic J.A. Rogers. Yeah, classic J.A. Rogers on Menelik II, King of Kings, ever victorious, Lion of Judah. Died 19 and 23 when he was born, questionable. But Marcus says about 18 and 44. If triumph against great odds entitles a ruler to be called great, then Menelik II was one of the foremost figures of a century that includes Napoleon. Few monarchs faced greater difficulties than he did. He was beset by leading European powers greedy for his kingdom. I should say, correct that, for his empire. Harassed by rebellious kings of his own land and worried by family dissensions, Menelik belonged to a very ancient family. According to such records as we have, his pedigree was older than that of any other ruler of his time. Indeed, it towered over theirs as a California redwood over an oak. Of course, this will be doubted by some, but these will find it very difficult to disprove. The oldest royal family in Europe was the Bourbon, which dates back to the 9th century AD. The next is the English, which goes back to William the Conqueror, who was born 1028 AD. Illegitimate son of Rollo and a tanner's daughter. Menelik, however, traced his descent from Menelik I, son of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, or back to 930 BC. Between Menelik I and Menelik II stretched 2,793 years. But that is not all. Solomon's lineage is traced in the Bible to Adam, which for those who accept the legend of David's ancestry, that's in your Bible, would give Menelik nearly 6,000 years of recorded ancestry, at least. Thus, if lineage makes for aristocracy, Menelik could have been called the most aristocratic monarch then living. One indisputable fact is that when the book of Genesis was written, even granting that it was written by Moses, which according to J. Rogers, he says it was not, Ethiopia was already a very ancient kingdom. Already in 750 BC, when Greece and Rome were still in their infancy, one of Menelik's ancestors, Payanki, had already conquered Egypt. Twice in its long history had Menelik been dethroned, first in 950 AD by the Falashas, otherwise known as the Black Jews, and then again in 1855 by Kasai, otherwise known as King Theodros, a man of humble birth. Both times the dynasty reasserted itself with remarkable vitality. Theodros had seized the throne on the death of Menelik's father, and his victory over his usurper shows that in him there was something far superior to mere blue blood. Menelik's troubles began when he was 11 years old, at which time he had to flee to escape death at the hands of Theodros. The loyal element crowned him at Showa with the ancient title, Elect of God, Emperor, King of Kings of Ethiopia, Sultan of the Nile, ever victorious, Lion of Judah. With Theodros firmly in power, this, however, was only an empty gesture, and Menelik had to take to the wilds to escape capture. From time to time, he attacked Theodros, but was always beaten. When matters seemed at their worst, the English invaded Ethiopia to avenge some missionaries who had been killed by Theodros, who, to escape capture, killed himself rather than being captured. John, Theodros' son, then seized the throne, and Menelik, failing to oust him, made an agreement with him whereby he would be made John's heir, and John's son, Ras Aria, would be Menelik's heir. To cement the treaty, Menelik married his daughter, Ziadita, to Ras Aria, or Araya. I'm not sure how to say that. But not long afterward, Menelik was rid of both rivals. Ras Aria died, and John was killed in battle with the dervishes. Emperor at last. Menelik, eager to restore the prestige and ancient glory of Ethiopia, dropped his birth name, Sahaba Mariam, and took that of the son of the Queen of Sheba. But his troubles with the succession were by no means over. John's illegitimate son, Ras Mangasha, rebelled and made an alliance with the British, though through whose aid he hoped to get the throne, backed with British arms and money. Mangasha warred with Menelik for the next 8 years. So I'm going to leave off right there because my time has been up for a minute here. I told you I was going to try to keep this within the time frame, but here's what I'm going to tell you right now. I will try to come back if I can recall. I'll write it down. I will come back on Monday, finish up that story, and then I'm going to follow that up with the story, concluding with the story of Hannibal for the next 2 days. So that'll take us all the way to the middle of next week. But in the meanwhile, this weekend, I've got a special treat for you. Tomorrow, I'll be for our weekly rewind. Instead of doing our normal weekly rewind, I'm going to do an interview with that brother Vince Robinson did with me on a couple days ago. So I'm going to play that interview. That'll take up about 1 hour. And then I'm going to start it off, though, with a piece about the Battle of Adwa. Now, what I'm holding here, I don't have a way to, I might be able to show you to post up a trailer about this particular video, but it's all about the Battle of Adwa. It was produced and directed by a man from Ethiopia by the name of Haile Gerima. And Haile Gerima, or Gerima, whichever way you say that, is the brother who also produced and directed the movie Sankofa. So for those of you who are enthralled with the idea of Sankofa and the theme of Sankofa, this is your man right here. This is produced by the very same person. But this movie here is even deeper than Sankofa. And I had to watch Sankofa about 10 times before I really got it. But this one, it's not a movie. It's not a documentary. It's an epic telling of the tale of the Battle of Adwa by the people, the actual people, the common folks who may not even speak English, but they speak Amharic. And so parts of it are in Amharic with English subtitles. Part of it is in English as Haile Gerima interviews various scholars from Ethiopia about this particular battle, because when he was growing up, his father and the men around him told him the story about the Battle of Adwa and what happened at the Battle of Adwa, because everybody's relative had participated in the Battle of Adwa, because at that time, when an Ethiopian man went to war, he took his wife and his donkey with him. Okay? You take both. You don't just take the one or the other. You take them both. So if the wife is going, you can bet your bottom dollar the children are going with them too. So it was battles at that time. War was a family affair. Everybody participated. And that's what the Italians didn't count on. They didn't account on it, that they were putting the Ethiopians back up against the wall, and they were going to fight tooth and nail to the death. Not till they got injured and then run back to the medical thing and say, ooh, tie me up over here. I'm bleeding. No. They don't come like that. They came to die on the battlefield because that was an honor. So, Battle of Adwa. I play a short clip by Teddy Afro, say a music video. Yeah, you should like it. It's still going to be in Amharic. There might be some English subtitles, but I think you'll get the idea just by looking at the imagery on the screen and listening to the music. I think you'll still get the idea. It should come through. So at any rate, enough said. I did get some things done this morning. I posted up a link. So there's now a link on our website, and there's also a link on our Facebook page or pages, some of our Facebook groups, some of those groups, and on my personal page to the Amazon Smile campaign that we're doing starting today. Well, we started it a little bit ago, but officially it starts now because now we have an official link on there. All you got to do is just click the Amazon Smile link, and a percentage, a very small percentage, but a percentage of everything, every purchase you make on Amazon that qualifies, they have qualifying things, will be going towards the going to support Black Facts Educational Research Incorporated. So help us out by ordering, using that link and signing up on their little program instead of going through the regular door you've been going through. It's just like you just went through the side door instead of the front door, but you're same store, you're paying the same prices. It doesn't cost you any extra money. So why not? That's what I say. So go ahead, sign up for the Amazon Smile campaign. We've still got our regular campaigns going on Facebook. You can donate there. And we updated our donation page, our GoFundMe donation page. So you can go to any one of those and make your donations. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your support and all the love you send us through the screen here. We see Ronnie over here again. How you doing, Ronnie? I've been trying to reach you, but can't seem to get through on the phone. But I'm gonna get you eventually. In the meanwhile, everybody have a good weekend. Hopefully it'll be a weekend on the weekend. Maybe that's the kind of weekend you seek. We shall see. Seek and ye shall find.